Okay, so I'm Ifa. You may know me from the third and final panel of ClusterCon. I was one of the interviewers, and what you may not know is I was actually team coordinator throughout the entire event of ClusterCon. So I was uniquely positioned to be able to know exactly who was doing what at all times during the process of the event, and I feel like I would be able to tell you all about how hardworking our team actually is and how much, they're the reason we had such an incredible event. So let's get into it. So first of all, we have Corvi, or Corvoraz, as you may know her. Corvoraz Art on Twitter. Corvoraz is Ink Made on Instagram. She did our amazing Type 3 ghost portraits for the event. She actually volunteered to do those. We never imagined asking someone to take on the burden of so many portraits, but she did it, and she did an incredible job. She showcased everyone's personality in each of the pieces that she made. We all loved them so much, and in case you want one of your own, I totally recommend checking her art out, asking her for a commission, because she will not disappoint you. Corvoraz is also the one who made the amazing illustrated poster for the event, and she is someone who has worked so hard and so passionately, and she wanted to help out wherever she could, however she could, and she did an amazing job that should totally be acknowledged by everyone. Next, we have Laura, or Lockwoody, on Instagram and Twitter. Lockwoody with an underscore at the end, and people in the fandom may be aware of a lot of Laura's artwork because she's quite a fandom name. Her arts and her artwork, her edits, all of these things are phenomenal always, and she was also the one who came up with the announcement graphics for our event. She also came up with the riddles. They were a team effort, but for the most part it was Laura figuring out how to make them fun and exciting for everyone. The announcement for the guests, the announcement graphics themselves for the raffle, and for ClusterCon as an event, those were all her doing, and she did an incredible job at them. All the credit goes to her for all that beautiful work, all that fun everyone had with the riddles. We knew we wanted to do something like that, but she's the one who ended up making the graphics in a way that was fun for everyone, and we ended up making a whole game out of it before revealing what the event was. Then we have Kat, or Katie Mist, as people on Discord would know her, Miss Catwin with a double N on Instagram. She did the amazing logo we have for ClusterCon. She just blew us all away when she presented us with the idea of what she had in mind for the logo. After that, she just kept on getting better and better, because we asked her to make the webinar background, we asked her to make panelist background, the 35 Portland row that you saw during the interviews. She did such an amazing job. We actually asked her to change stuff more than a few times, but she ended up doing it, and she was such a good sport about it, and you can see the beautiful work she did. It speaks for itself. Definitely check out her art Instagram as well. Go give her all the praise, because without her we wouldn't have the amazing webinar background, we wouldn't have the amazing logo, we wouldn't have the amazing 35 Portland row in which we all gave interviews in which we all could sit for an afternoon or evening or morning, depending on what time zone you were in Portland row, talking to all of these people who love Lockwood & Co. as much as Lock Nation does. Another element of graphic design that we have is the website, so we entrusted that to Spawn, who did such an amazing job when it came to the colors of the website, when it came to the design of the website, and she just all around did so good. Even though she was very busy in real life and we're on a time crunch, she still got it done. She still got it ready. We're very grateful, because without her we wouldn't really have the amazing website that we did, that we could direct everyone to for all the information that was all available in one place completely concisely. So after Spawn made the initial website and just got that structure up, we also have Kat, who did the main editing and any additions for the website. She's the person who owns the server. She's also one of our server admins, and she was very helpful when it came to giving any sort of advice, when it came to figuring out solutions for anything server related. Any issue we had, she resolved it instantly. And then just in general, she was amazing when it came to helping out with ClusterCon in any capacity that she could manage, whether it be proofreading stuff for us, whether it be going through stuff and just offering an outside opinion. And like I said, she helped out majorly with making the website neat, with keeping it regularly updated, and to make sure it looked as nice as it possibly could. She was supposed to be a moderator. Unfortunately, unfortunately something came up very last minute, but she was all ready and prepared to do that as well. And just she was such an integral part of the process, again, like everyone else, and she was just so supportive of absolutely everyone, and she always had a motivating or an encouraging word. And the thing about Kat is she's so honest that anytime that she tells you you're doing a good job, you just have to believe her because she knows what she's talking about. One of our prime cheerleaders for the event was Cassia. So she did this incredible job of keeping us hype, of keeping us all motivated, of making sure everyone was always in good spirits. She was also our undercover agent, one of our undercover agents, when it came to revealing the surprise, hyping up ClusterCon a month before we actually announced it was happening. So she was super helpful in that regard. She's just an all-around sweet person, an all-around amazing person that kept everyone in high spirits and good moods right when we began to, get frustrated with the event, when we needed someone to just generally hype us up and keep us going. Cassia was super helpful in that. Next, we have Gabby, who is also one of our moderators and cheerleaders. She was, someone who kept us humble, and good-hearted ribbing was all her thing. She kept us energetic. She kept us in high spirits. She also acted as a double agent when it came to announcing ClusterCon, like the initial hype before we announced it on the Discord as well. And she was an amazing moderator for the event itself. And, again, keeping cool in that kind of situation, finding people, making them panelists, all that sort of stuff. So she was the moderator for the Jonathan panel, and she did an amazing job at it. And without her, we definitely wouldn't have had such a good time planning the event. Her opinions, her thoughts were also very valuable, and just in general, she's an amazing human being as well. We have Viv, who is our meme queen, as we call her. She is someone who was so positive throughout the entire thing, keeping us all laughing with her amazing memes, with her amazing jokes throughout. She was available for nearly all the test calls, and her opinions were so valuable and so helpful when we were confused which direction we should go with a certain decision. Viv always had a valuable opinion to offer to help out, sort out what we should go with in the end. She was also the moderator for panel number 1 with William and Oliver. So she did an amazing job moderating, working with our lead mods with that as well. That sort of thing, personally, I don't think I could ever have done something like that in a high stress situation. She did incredible, and she was also, again, one of our double agents, so to speak, while we were hyping ClusterCon. But even after, she just promoted it on Twitter, on her platforms, and just keeping us all clowning in high spirits, laughing, and with valuable opinions. That's all Viv. Next, we have Saifa, who is one of the admins of the planning committee, and she really helped a lot in the initial stages of ClusterCon, motivating the team, helping out, giving her valuable input on all of the aspects. And just, when we weren't sure if we could do it, she was always one of the people who were like, we should go ahead and try. And she had to take a step back during some of the later stages, but she was always around, always encouraging, always helpful, and she always had a motivating word. She always was there to give advice and help out however capacity she was able to. And without her as well, this event would not be what it was. She was such a valuable member of our team, and so all the cheers to her as well, honestly. We brought Lena in a little later after ClusterCon was properly announced, and her original role was supposed to be helping out with the raffle giveaway. But in the end, Complete Fiction and Jonathan generously decided to, we realized we didn't really have the resources to be able to ship the items ourselves, and so Complete Fiction and Jonathan took on that role themselves as well, very generously, on top of, offering the raffle items. And Lena, we initially brought her on for that role. However, she ended up helping a lot as a moderator, as someone who just gave advice, again, helping out in general around the server, however we needed to in those final stages. And then she actually modded 2 different panels. She modded the crew panel, and then she modded the production panel as well. So again, I can't say it enough, very high pressure job. Even when you have a lot of different people working with you, it is a lot of moving parts. It is a lot of, pressure. And she did an amazing job. And just in general, when it came to offering a little bit of insight about the film world as well. She was really helpful in that regard, because in some ways we weren't quite sure how, like, what some things were, how some things were. So just by her own background knowledge, she was able to help us out a lot in that regard as well. Where to begin when it comes to Hannah? So we brought her on once we realized that we didn't actually know anything tech on the planning committee. Initially, we didn't really have anyone. So Hannah joined the planning team later, but also still quite early on, and she was a superstar. She absolutely took everything tech under her jurisdiction. She ended up working out, understanding how all of the ways that Zoom webinar works, how to run everything. She did test call after test call for each and every scenario, each and every eventuality. She was completely prepared for, completely educated on, and she was just incredible. The way you saw the webinar running, how absolutely smooth it was, that is all down to her and her incredible preparation for the event. And she also ended up being one of the people who took on emailing some of our valuable guests, and especially the last minute emails. She was amazing when it came to that. She was also one of our lead organizers. So in general, when some decision had to be made, something we needed to figure out what to be done, she was usually one of the people who had enough understanding and a background that really helped out when it came to figuring out what the best course of action would be. So she was just all around incredible in every single way. And again, how smoothly the event ran, why we had some of the guests we did, just when it came to pointing out how we should best approach certain things, certain questions, to do certain aspects of the event. It was all her, and she did an incredible job at it. Of course, there's Anya, who was right alongside Hannah when it came to being the lead moderator for the event. She and Hannah tag teamed the whole thing. Again, all of the smoothness you saw, it's down to Hannah, it's down to Anya. Without the two of them, it would never have happened as cleanly as the event ended up occurring. Even with a lot of the chaos going on in the background, there was a lot less than what I expected, because again, these two were amazing, completely down for what the roles were and completely prepared for any eventuality. Anya also joined a lot of the test calls, helped out with a lot of them, learned a lot for the event as well. And then we also have her as the Twitter admin. She is the person who scheduled all of our tweets that had to go up when it came to announcing the guests, when it came to interacting with people on Twitter, changing up all the bios and everything. Just she created the account, and she ended up being the one to run it for a lot of the time, and she was just downright incredible at it. And without her, we wouldn't really have a Twitter presence. Hands up for Anya, because she was amazing in all her roles, and she ended up doing this really cool eyeliner tutorial near the end for promo, which amazing. Even without ClusterCon, I recommend you guys check it out. Knowing how to do ghost eyeshadow is gonna be cool no matter what the circumstances. After Anya, we have Caitlin. So Caitlin ended up joining the team very late, like right near the end, and she was amazing. Like all of the promos for the last week that you ended up seeing on Twitter, on YouTube, even the tweets from the ClusterCon Twitter account on the very last day, on the day of the event actually, she ended up doing that, and she was amazing. Like she came in, she had so many ideas for all these promos, and we were like, is it possible to do that in less than a week? But Caitlin, she just went out, she made all the promos. So all of that last week of hype, she had a major hand in, and she ended up taking over a bit of the scheduling duties from Anya, as well as Anya began to prepare for the event regarding the moderators with Hannah for the actual webinar itself. Despite being a last minute addition, she pulled so much weight, she did so much, and she was just an all around incredible addition, and the team would not be able to do this without her. And just in general, she's the one actually who's editing this video right now as well. I planned it as a surprise for everyone, and just Caitlin, she's amazing. And the webinar video, the one at the very end that brought everyone to tears, the Portland Row is our home video, that was also her creation. She didn't make it for the event, she made it in general, but I saw it, I knew it had to be used as webinar promo, and I knew we had to make sure that our esteemed guests saw it, and they did, and it moved them, and as it should, because that was a beautiful video. And Caitlin was such a valuable member, even though she came in literally just 2 to 3 weeks before the event itself. Of course, We also have Lav, who is one of the admins of the server, was someone who also came on late. We actually surprised her with the event and she was just so happy about it. She is like a complete ray of sunshine. She kept everyone hype. She helped out however she could, especially when it came to the promotion of the event, when it came to, rallying the troops, when it came to hyping it up. She was always there. She was super helpful in that. She was also, of course, our Jonathan expert, and she did an incredible job being one of his interviewers, and just so knowledgeable, so friendly with everyone, just so generous and loving when it came to hyping everyone up. So obviously without her being there, ClusterCon wouldn't be ClusterCon. Now I have to talk about Katie, who is again also one of the admins of our server, and she was so integral to this entire process. Like the day she was told about ClusterCon as an idea, after we discussed it, after we were like, yeah, we're doing this, in less than 24 hours, Katie had everyone who we needed to contact in order for ClusterCon and more. She had everyone's addresses, and it just made it so much easier because she had a full spreadsheet. She made everything like so easy to find in that aspect, and contacting people after that was not at all difficult. She was also helpful in contacting some of those people that we invited as guests, and just in general, she's our TikTok admin and she is our Reddit liaison, and she's just been doing so much to help promote the event, keep spirits high, keep communication up, keep information in order, helping out wherever she can, however she can. When it comes to figuring out what to do, she was always available to help with advice. Again, just the general management of things. She was really helpful and important and integral to the entire process, and she's just such a positive and uplifting character. Just talking to her, just that in itself is so very motivating. Katie was incredible, and as you all know, she was our interviewer for not one but two panels, which incredible. Like, I was dying of anxiety for just one, but she did two, and she carried the conversation so cleanly and so beautifully and made our guests feel so comfortable, and she's such a team player, which is why Katie is amazing. Next we have Zoe, who is also an interviewer, and again, she did not only one but two panels, and she did an absolutely amazing job at both of them. And she was also actually one of the people who curated the Q&A. She was the one who was managing the sign up and question and answer forms, and alongside that, afterwards, she curated a lot of the questions that we ended up asking for the panels, obviously with a lot of input from the other interviewers and organizers as well, but for the brunt of that effort, that was all on her. And she is also one of the people who helped with the initial proposal. Me and her, we tag team it, but she did a lot of the writing for that, a lot of the content writing in general, and she was just so incredible at it. She's our resident wordsmither, as we call her, and she's just really good. She's been taking on so much stress despite her own life being very busy in itself, and she just was constantly around, constantly available. If there was something that she felt there was no one else doing it, she would do it herself, even though we did our best to divide work up as much as we could to make it easy on everyone. But Zoe is just someone who's very responsible, and she was down to getting things done. She was just down to getting everything done as efficiently as she could. And she's also our Instagram admin, and that in itself is a demanding job as well, promoting the event on Instagram, all of these things. Zoe was absolutely incredible again throughout the whole process, and right up until the very end when she was interviewing our guests. Next, of course, we have the person who started it all, Jay. She is the person who came up with the idea for the event, and she told us, hey, this is an event, sounds crazy, but we could maybe do it. It would lift people's spirits, and it may be difficult, but we can try. The idea was insane. It was a lot of effort. We did it, and it was all because she was just reckless enough to suggest it, and then we were all just reckless enough to help her make it happen. And the initial discussions, everything about how and why and when and how, all of these things, Jay, we talked them through with her a lot, and then we got a lot of volunteers, and she was crucial to managing all those aspects. She was the person who was in initial communications with most of our guests, actually, and she had to take a step back later on during the process because of some personal commitments, but also she had led us all so well, everyone, through so many of the aspects beforehand, that by the time she had to take a step back, everyone was practically embedded into their roles. There was no question of, no longer any confusion of how to do things. It was a lot because of her leadership and her confidence in how to do things. All those discussions we had initially among the whole team, she was very, very motivating, especially in times when everyone was feeling down. And again, she was always around to clown about something, laugh about something with everyone. And this whole event happened because she had an opportunity to meet Rachel and the cast, and she wanted to bring that to everyone else, and she did that by presenting this idea, which was brought to life by the whole team.
Hey everyone, Caitlin here. I just wanted to give a little bit of shout out to Ifa. She's the one who came to me with this idea and wanted to give everyone in Lock Nation a little look behind the scenes of just how much work went into ClusterCon. Ifa is one of the admin in the Pony Discord, and she was there from day one, and she was always so engaging and uplifting to the team with all of her sweet words. I'd been on the team one day, and she was already like cheering me on and telling me how great of a job I was doing, and I'd been there for such a short time, and that was just super encouraging to me and made me feel super welcome since I got to join the team a little bit later than everybody else. Ifa served as a production manager of sorts and a team coordinator. She was great at keeping track of knowing what was going on at all times and the progress of everything, and if anyone had any questions of what was happening, she knew off of the top of her head what exactly was happening and who was doing what. Ifa had a part in helping write for the website along with Viv and Anya. Some of the stuff that's on the website you see is her writing. She also played a part in being a Twitter admin, and all of the captions that you see on the ClusterCon Twitter page are written by her. She'd write those and then she would send them to Anya and I so we could both schedule posts and post on the ClusterCon Twitter page. Ifa was also one of the interviewers in the production panel with Complete Fiction. Ifa tried to be as involved as she could with ClusterCon and came to all the test calls she could be at, all of the meetings. She was always engaged with ClusterCon, and just every single communication, every single talk that we had, she was always there. Ifa also helped contact the guest and email them back and forth, and she helped communicate to the guests and let them know what the details of ClusterCon were. Ifa is amazing and has so much talent to be able to cover all of these different areas while working on top of it, from writing to just encouraging people to keeping everyone on track if they needed it, and just having this off the top of her head. It's amazing, and she's amazing in working and doing all of this and being there from the very beginning. Now back to Ifa for some honorable mentions.
Just some honorary mentions, but I also want to thank Cheesy, who is our Tumblr liaison. She and the Tumblr admin were amazing at doing the promotion on their end of things as well. Then we also have Eve, Kat, and Julia, and Cassie, and I don't think Caitlin as well. You know, they are the ones who put together the Ghost family portrait, and just everyone else in Lock Nation as well who tried to promote the event, tried their best to, make it, spread the word far and wide. Just in general, everyone who was so hype and excited about it from the very beginning. It meant a lot to have our idea be elevated in such a way, and so much excitement, especially when people wanted to start doing their own projects to help promote it, and that meant a lot to us, and that also helped it succeed a whole lot. Hopefully this gave everyone a little more insight into how much time and effort and how many individuals it took to bring this whole event to life, to spread it far and wide. And everyone spent so many hours of their time amidst busy schedules. Like, some people didn't have school and they did have jobs, and then once summer ended, alongside jobs, alongside school, alongside insanely busy schedules, everyone poured their heart into this, poured so much effort and love and so many hours of their time into this. And I feel like despite trying, I cannot actually say enough of what everyone did. I can't really tell you, like, for some people I know more about what they did, for some other people I know a little less because their jobs were a little more self-sufficient. I just had to help just keep progress, like, hey, how far along is this coming? For the most part, this was such a labor of love for everyone involved, including the people who were our guests. For them, Lockwood & Co. was a labor of love. In return, we hoped to give the fandom, to give our guests ClusterCon as a labor of love. And I'm really sorry if I missed anyone's important contributions, because I feel certain I have, because again, everyone did so much. It's not something that directly say this person did this, and this person did that, because everyone was doing whatever they could to help out. It's not that I don't see them or I don't remember them. It's just I mostly go off of memory for all of these things, for these rough voice notes that I wanted to get out to give a thank you to our entire team. Thank you everyone who watched ClusterCon, who enjoyed it. Thank you to our guests for participating, but most importantly, thank you to our team who did all of this for free, all of this countless labor, despite, any frustrations, any tiredness, any anxiety. We all ended up pulling through, and it was all because of the effort everyone willingly wanted to put in the end. It means a whole lot, and I personally feel I couldn't have asked for a better team to work on an event like this with.